Hello. Today we are going to learn how to play Disaster Fairy Tales. Now there are some expansion packs to Disaster and those just fit right in with either the pocket version or the normal one. But this is actually a standalone game. So it has its own sort of dynamics. It doesn't mix with the other versions of the game, but it is really fun to play too. So the first thing we do, just like normal Disaster, is we deal everybody 7 cards. And then everyone creates their insurance bank, taking any of the insurance cards, which in this game are green, in the original they're blue, and they take those, lay them to the side, and then pick back up, so they've got 7 cards. And now we're ready to start the game. The other difference between this and the original game is that there are no instant effect cards that you have to look out for during this phase of the game, so that's kind of a nice, easy way. I think this is a little bit of an easier version of this game. So let's see how things progress. First of all, Mr. Red's going to start, and on your turn, just like always, you can either lay down a card in your insurance bank, or you can attack someone with a disaster. So Mr. Red has got an insurance card, and that is a pink potion. It's worth 4 points. And there are a few different kinds of insurance cards. There's royalty. Those can be kings and princes and princesses and queens, or in this case, a guard. He's worth 2 points. There can be magical beings such as fairies and fairy godmothers, and this is a fairy worth 5. There can be animals like dragons worth 6, or horses or mice, all sorts of little creatures like that. Or there can be spells, so you can have growing or shrinking or disguise or invisibility, and then all sorts of different colors of potions as well. So these are actually going to combine to create numbers to thwart off the disasters. So rather than it being a specific kind of insurance card for a specific kind of attack, it's all just numbers. So we're going to put our pink potion into the bank and then draw back up to 7, just like normal. And now it's Mr. Green's turn. Mr. Green has a disaster card, and they look like this in this game. So this is a witch, and she's worth 5 points. So he's going to play that on Mr. Red. Now we know that Mr. Red had just put a pink potion in. That was only worth 4. So what he has to do is take this worth 4 and then a bird, which is worth 3, and combine those two. Now that does add up to more than the 5, but it has to be at least that. And so he can thwart off that attack. And then Mr. Green draws back up to 7. Yellow has a disaster, and he's going to play that over onto Mr. Blue. So this one's worth 5. Let's see what Mr. Blue's got in his bank to work with. He's looking at 2 spells, 1 fleeing and 1 charm, but they only add up to 4. So he cannot get rid of this disaster, so he's just going to have to keep that. And that stays there until the very end of the game, or until he is out of the game. So he's 5 points. As soon as you get to 10 points, you're out of the game. So Mr. Yellow draws back up to 7, and it's Mr. Blue's turn. Now, see, he did have a potion worth 6 in his hand, but you can't play insurance cards out of your hands. They have to be from your bank. So now he's going to put it in there, but it doesn't help him anymore. He can't get rid of that. It's there till the end of the game. And then he's going to pick back up, so he's got 7, and it's Mr. Red's turn again. Now he has 2 cards here. This is a peril card and a disaster card. So the disaster is someone's going to be transfigured into a donkey, but they can only use spells to pay that. So who's he going to play? He's going to play Mr. Blue. Now we know that Mr. Blue does have only spells, so that's in his favor. The problem, however, is that they only add up to 4, and he needs 5 points. So Mr. Blue is unfortunately out of the game. So Mr. Red draws back up to 7, and it's Mr. Green's turn. Now he has a different kind of peril card. There are 2 kinds of peril cards. There's one that makes you lose everything of a certain kind of insurance cards. That's what this is. So this would be lose all your potions. There's also lose all your royalty, lose all of your magical beings, and these come out of your bank and your hand. Then the other kind of peril card, which we've already seen, is the one that makes you have to pay with only a certain kind. So these can be really useful. There is one other peril card, and that's Unlucky Day. It has a horseshoe on it, and that is the same as in the original game, Insult to Injury, which allows you to use 2 disasters at once when you're attacking someone. So who's Mr. Green going to play this against? Mr. Red. And Mr. Red got a lot of potions. He already used 1, and now he's going to discard those 2. And then they both draw back up, so they've got 7. Mr. Yellow's going to go, and he's going to play Distracting Monologue, worth 2 points. But he knows now that Mr. Red doesn't have any potions, so he's going to say you have to use only potions, which of course he can't. But Mr. Red does have a rescue card, but it's important to notice that the potions only or the spells only cards, they say they cannot use a rescue card. So there are 3 rescue cards. There's Wish Granted, there is True Love's Kiss, and there's Magical Carriage. And these are each allowing us to get rid of cards in a certain range. So this one, for instance, is points between 2 and 4. So under normal circumstances, we could get rid of the Distracting Monologue with this card because it's only worth 2, but we can't use it because of this Peril card that's been played. So that's going to go back into his hand. Can't use that. And he's going to have to keep the Distracting Monologue. So Mr. Yellow picks back up, and it's Mr. Red's turn. He's going to put an insurance card over into his bank. That's wise, and pick back up. And now what's going to happen? Now we have an Evil Stepsister played against Mr. Red here. And now he can use his Wish Granted, because that's only 4. And then Mr. Green would pick back up. So the play would continue like that, just like normal disaster, until somebody gets out, until everybody gets out, until there's only 1 person left in the game. And so that is Disaster Fairy Tales.